is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to you with a quick video. I wanted to let you guys know I got some new merchandise available, not just t-shirt anymore. I got different type of t-shirt, different type of shirts and logos that you can purchase on my spread shirt, and also hoodies now. We have expanded and added more to the channel and more merchandise for the brand. Thanks for supporting. It will be in the description and the links will be in the comment section below. Thanks for helping me and supporting the movement. Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis. I'm going to check out the video. What's good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with a quick video. We're going to talk about the Utah Jazz and their struggles. This is a team that everybody predicted to be a top 4, top 5, even top 3, top 2 team in the Western Conference after the Houston Rockets fell off, after the Spurs lost Kawhi Leonard. A lot of teams got better talent-wise, but some of the teams that was elite, remember the Rockets won 65 games last year and was the #1 team in the whole entire NBA, and they took a significant step back, so much that a lot of people have been talking about the regression of the Rockets because they feel like that they went back so far that the Warriors are basically the favorites other than playing against the Celtics. And my Celtics don't look right at this point because they're still building chemistry and their offense is so terrible, but it was like that last year. So we got to see how it's going to play out. But with the West being a little bit more weaker at the top. There's a lot more teams at the bottom that got better and got talent and got healthier, meaning that, the West is still tough because you might not have the Golden State and the Houston like you had last year, but everybody's on the even playing field, which means you will be a 1 or 2 games away from making the playoffs or not in the playoffs. And on top of that, you have to win as many games as you possibly can because it's going to be very tough for you to have a playoff seed when you're so behind. And this is a team that's below 500 at this point, so they really needed to get off to the best start that they can. Plus, everybody was predicting them to get off to a hot start because of how they ended the season last year and how well Donovan Mitchell played in the playoffs and, the season he had after Rudy Gobert came back. They thought that this would be the breakout team. They thought that this would be the team that was going to come out and shock the world this year. And it still can happen. Obviously, they only played 10 games, so they still have a lot of time to correct it. Remember last year they was out of the playoffs, and then Rudy Gobert came back, and they was able to make a run to the playoffs and even got out of the first round. So that just lets you know that anything can happen, and it's not over. But one thing I will say that it is some things that I'm concerned about that I really wanted to talk about because I feel like this team, the concerns for this team is legit. And what I mean by that is they just don't look good offensively and they don't look the same defensively. And I feel like one of the main reasons why they don't look the same is because people are starting to get Rudy Gobert out of the paint and forcing him to be a perimeter defender by putting bigs that can stretch the floor, which take out the best rim protector in the game from being a rim protector because he can't protect the rim because he's not inside the paint. And then they're putting him in pick and roll, getting him away from the basket, allowing people to do backdoor cuts and allowing people to hit floaters because he wants to commit to being in the paint, which means he's either going to have to give up a jump shot or a floater, and people are forcing him to do that, relying on them still scoring points, which means your defense is supposed to stop and hold them from scoring points. But everybody is lighting up the Jazz. And another thing that doesn't look right is their offense. And I said coming into this season, if they really want to be a contender, they're going to have to improve their starting lineup. And what I mean by that is add more versatility and more offensive weapons to the starting lineup, or even make Donovan Mitchell your point guard and try to find a better shooting guard that can fit within this Utah scheme. Because one thing you can't do is do the same things in the West because people are going to eventually catch up to you. People are going to surpass you, and teams are going to continue to get better at the bottom. So you cannot just come in with the same mentality that the West is easy and that you'll figure it out, because once you lose 3 to 4 games in a row, it's so hard to get another position back into the playoffs. So you want to win as many games as you can. I'm not saying win all of them, but you don't want to drop the games you shouldn't drop, and you don't want to blow games that you should win because it do hurt when you trying to get a playoff spot in the last month of the season in the Western Conference. And we've seen that happen to Minnesota when they lost Jimmy Butler, and we've seen what happened to San Antonio when they lost Kawhi for the rest of the season. Yeah, they still made the playoffs, but they wasn't the top 4 seeds that they was at that time because they couldn't hold it together, and then they got passed up and barely fought. Like, it was one day one game away from missing the playoffs. That's how hard it is to make the playoffs in the West. And Utah is a team that these questions, I feel like they're not going to be fixing, and they're not going to go away, because these are legitimate problems with this roster. They don't have enough scoring. They don't have enough versatility offensively, and they're starting to get predictable. And defensively, people are picking them apart. This was one of the best defensive teams yet last year, one of the top two defensive teams last year, and now the scheme is a little outdated, and teams are starting to find ways to pick apart this defense. And that was the main reason why they was winning games, because they made it slow, ugly, and frustrating for teams, and they're not doing that this year, which is allowing teams to play however they want to play, and they're forcing the Utah to adjust to them. And that's when you're going in the wrong direction, because you want them to try to figure out how to score. You want them to work for every basket, and now they're finding ways to get comfortable, relax shots, and that means that they already know when to score and how to score against this defense, and they know what to do to pass up this defense. So it just lets you know that the Utah Jazz is not scaring anybody. They're not stopping really anybody, and right now that's a problem, because they mainly won a lot of games last year because of their defense, and they haven't been able to play that well of defense this year. So I don't know what they're going to do. I think they definitely need to make a trade. You're not going to win too many games with Ricky Rubio being your starting point guard, because he's just not good enough, and he's always injured, and he's very streaky, and you need somebody more consistent. You need somebody that can really be a consistent shooter and a consistent offensive threat, because Donovan Mitchell can't do it all. And then people got to remember, Donovan Mitchell is a streaky shooter. He can score the basketball on a high volume of attempts, but he is far from efficient scorer. He do have intangibles like taking over games and not being afraid of the big moments and taking big shots. But he also is a guy that can shoot you out of a game, and that's why I did not have Donovan Mitchell as a top 5 shooting guard. Is because, one, he's not a great 3-point shooter. 2, he's not a great consistent scorer. And 3, he's not the best defender that he can be at this point, which you can say about a lot of young people who only been in the league for 2 years. So I wasn't expecting him to be a defensive player of the year candidate, but he still is not a finished product, and he has a lot of things to learn, and he's not a great shooter. So there's a lot of things that goes against him, and we're starting to see that at the beginning of the season. Yes, he's getting his 20, but he's working really hard for it, and he has to take a lot of shots to get it. And when he doesn't, they fail. And plus, he's injured right now, so that don't even help their case that their best offensive player that's inconsistent and streaky, he can't really play at all right now because of his ankle, which means now they don't have their offensive player that runs the offense and can score at when he wants to. So now they got to figure out how to win without their best offensive player, which is already a bad thing because they're losing already. So it's crazy. I think the Utah Jazz, I'm not going to push the panic button just yet. I think that they have figured something out. Will they still be a top 5 seed? That's something that we will have to see, because OKC looks a lot better. I think Houston going to win at least 52 to 55 games. I think OKC going to win about 50. I think San Antonio will win about 50, and obviously Golden State. So I don't really know if they're going to finish in that top 4, but I think they definitely can still get that top 5, which will be a disappointing coming off the season that they had last year if they don't have home court advantage. And that will surprise a lot of people, because a lot of people was high on the Jazz coming into this season, like I said before, but they just don't look right. They don't look in sync. They don't look together defensively, and teams are just picking them apart and forcing them to play a way that they don't want to play and defend. And now it's time for them to go back to the drawing board and figure out another way to attack, another way to score the basketball more consistently, and they got to have a better way of guarding defensively, because everybody's running up points. So now it's time for the coaches to figure out ways to slow these teams down and ways that they can execute to get good shots against good defense, and also find a way to have great defense in this time where everybody's scoring over 120 points. You have to figure out a way to slow these teams down and have a good opportunity of beating them, and that's something that Utah been able to do the last 3 years, and that's something that they're failing to do right now. So let me know what you guys think about the Utah Jazz. Is it time to panic? If people overreacting, people overrated them, or do you think that they're underrated, or do you think that they'll figure it out before the end of the season, or do you guys think that Utah, they still going to make it, but they're going to be that 5, 6, 7 range like I predicted going into the season, or do you think that they'll just figure it out when Donovan Mitchell get back healthy and they'll fly back into that top 4 range, 4, 3, 2, or 1? this season. So let me know what you guys think about the Utah Jazz. Some people gave up on them. Some people are saying that they're good. Some people still feel like they have finished where they should finish to them. And I'm still saying that they're not going to get home court advantage because they just don't have enough diversity and they just don't have enough offensive players that really carry this offense outside of Donovan Mitchell. And I think that that's a problem. But other than that, let me know what you guys think. About the Utah Jazz, Coinway Basketball Analysis. I'm gone. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link in the description in the comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Like on Facebook to show support. Thanks for checking out my Facebook. Thanks for liking. Also, check out my Spreadshirt. There you can find t-shirts, hoodies, and sweaters, including things like iPhone cases, pillowcases, mouse pads, even water bottles with my logo and my brand. Thanks for supporting the movement. Thanks for supporting the brand. Thanks for liking on Facebook, and thanks for continuing to watch my videos throughout the days, in the months, and in the recent videos. I enjoy making these videos. You guys enjoy watching. That's why I continue to go. Coinway Basketball Analysis. I'm gone, and let me know what you guys think about the Utah Jazz.